Hey, so since I've been hitchhiking and traveling in general, one of the questions that I get quite a bit is where I sleep at night. Um, and it really depends on the situation. And I figured I'd make a video just to kind of explain what I do. So, first of all, there's friends and family. Kind of obvious if I know that I'm in town where they are, I stay with them. But also, if I kind of put it out there wherever I am, Washington, D.C. or whatever, there's an off chance that a friend has a friend there and can kind of connect me that way. Beyond that, there's websites like couchsurfing.org, which is the biggest. Be Welcome's another one, Hospitality Club. These sites are just free hospitality exchanges. So you can get on there and punch in New York City, for example, and hundreds of people will come up for a big city like that, but it's all around the world. Couchsurfing has, I don't know, 4 or 5 million members, something like that. And everywhere from Africa to Europe to Australia, and on every continent, every country. So you just go through the profiles of the town you're looking at, city, and find someone who looks interesting, and or a few people, and send them all messages and say I'm going to be in town this date, whatever. For the average is like they'll let you stay for 1, 2, 3 nights, something like that. But everybody's different. So if you know where you're going to be, his dog's just rolling around having a good time. If you know where you're going to be, then that's a pretty good option. I've had pretty good success with it, and I think most people do. So beyond that, if you're hitchhiking, there's also the big bonus of whoever's giving you a ride offering their place to stay, and this actually happens not all the time, but a fair amount. I'd say if you're hitchhiking across the country and it takes you a week, at least one of those nights this is going to happen, where it's going to be getting later and somebody's going to ask you the question that I'm addressing here: where do you sleep at night? And they kind of say, well, why don't you just come stay in my spare bedroom or on my couch and I'll give you a ride to the freeway in the morning, kind of thing. And yeah, you should do that every time. I do. Unless it's early in the day and I'm really excited to get to where I'm going and I know I can get some more miles in, then yeah, I'll go and stay the night. And usually it's an adventure or something. uh, yeah, had a lot of great times with that and stayed in touch with some of the people that have done that along the way. It's pretty fun. Actually, just coming up here I'm in Connecticut now, and I was coming from California, and in West Virginia, I got caught in this wicked storm, and it was, getting later too. It was 8 o'clock, so it was just about dark, and a couple picked me up in the rain after tons of other people passed me, and then I ended up staying in their trailer for the night, which was extra cool because not only did it save me a night of camping, but it saved me a night of camping in the storm, in the rain. So that was particularly awesome. But it happens quite a bit, and it's pretty cool. So beyond that, that's not going to happen all the time, and it's not even going to happen half the time, really. That could. So the most important thing to have is a sleeping bag, and this will allow you to pretty much camp anywhere. If you're in the middle of a city, like a big kind of concrete city, it's harder to find a place. But while hitchhiking, it's pretty easy because most freeways along the freeway, there's places to kind of tuck away, whether it's under an underpass in the middle of nowhere or a lot of on ramps. They'll come together like a V, and in that grassy part, there's sometimes some trees, like a tiny forest. All you need is just enough space to kind of tuck away. So I have a sleeping bag and a bivy sack, and what a bivy sack is what I'm sitting on, and sleeping bag goes right inside it. So it's just this, and that's it. My sleeping bag's in there, and this is just a waterproof cover. So yeah, sleeping bag right inside. So I use it all the time, even if it's not raining, because it just keeps my sleeping bag a little cleaner. I'm not putting it directly on the dirt or in the grass, and it's lightweight, so you can travel with it, and it's that easy to set up. You just throw it on the ground, and it's good. You're not setting up a big tent. You're not obvious. A tent is a lot easier to spot. And this one's camouflage. It's military issue. My brother gave it to me, but they make tons of them. You can get them at camping stores, army surplus stores, wherever. Hell, you could even just get a tarp and wrap that around. So that's sort of the thing that lets you sleep anywhere. Because you're not always going to have friends, family. You're not always going to be able to find a couch surfer. You can find couch surfers short notice sometimes. Each city, especially the bigger ones, have groups, and you can post. I've done this. I did it in Louisville last, where I knew I was coming into Louisville, and I wasn't going to get there till 7, 8 o'clock, and I wasn't sure how much further I would get before dark. So I just posted in the group and said, hitchhiking in New York, going to be in Louisville, kind of want to check it out anyways. Is anyone up for hosting? And luckily someone said yes. And I would say about half the time, someone will say yes. If it's obviously the bigger the city, the more people there are who are paying attention to that and may be able to host you. But the sleeping bag is really the key, because then you're never thinking about it. You're never worried about where you're gonna wind up that night. You just know you have a place to sleep, and it's in your backpack. So recommend that to anybody. Beyond that, you can sometimes, the same way, while hitchhiking, someone will let you stay with you. I've had it happen where I've been at a bar or a coffee shop or a diner, and it's right around nighttime, and the more I've traveled, the less I care about where I'm going to sleep, the less I think about it. So it's kind of just easy going. And been there at a bar before where I'm talking to someone and they see my backpack, and that strikes up a conversation, and they ask where I'm sleeping, and when I tell them I'm not sure yet and I'm probably going to go find a place to camp, sometimes they're like, oh, well, why don't you just stay with me? It'd make it a lot easier. Like, all right. And then you can keep drinking a little longer. You don't have to worry. It's fun. Everything just kind of works out. Like I say, a sleeping bag, it just makes you not think about it. So the, I guess, better situation of staying with somebody indoors happens a lot more, because you're not really caring about whether it happens or not, because you have that fail-safe of always having a place to stay. Other than that, I haven't really stayed in many hostels, maybe 2 or 3, something like that. I have sprung for like the Motel 8s a couple times, traveling with an Australian girl who didn't like the cold, and we were traveling in winter, so that made that decision pretty easy. But yeah, usually I avoid it because it's $40 or something, even for the cheaper ones, and $40 can get you a lot of beer, decent amount of food too, and I mean, sleep indoors or drink like 6 beers and have a gourmet meal and just brave it outside. Pretty obvious choice for that kind of money. The other thing for me was Vegas. The first time I went there, I had a couple $100 and I won a couple thousand, and they kept track of that. And ever since then, I was on an email list where they were just emailing me comps come stay for free. So for years, I was just taking advantage of that, going to Las Vegas and staying in those hotels for free, until the last November I was there. And I was booking a room on the phone, and he said, the last 6 times you've been here, you haven't gambled at all. So if you don't gamble this time, that's the end. And that was the end. I stopped getting emails. There's little weird things like that. that you might fall into as well, as far as a place to stay. But that's pretty much the extent of it. So I hope that's helpful to anybody looking to do some traveling. Feel free to leave any other tips in the comments. There's endless things to do, so yeah, it's just one easy hurdle to get over. If that's what's stopping you from traveling, it's pointless because there's always a place to sleep. All right, good times.